A freezing New York night, a lost diamond ring, a black and white photograph of a newborn, and, well, the deafening silence of Hollywood's most scrutinized ex-wife. The cameras flashed, the crowd froze, and just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
It really is just the ultimate collision of private reality and public spectacle, isn't it?
Oh, completely. Welcome to Starscope Report. If you are joining us for the first time, our mission here is to uncover the machinery behind Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and, those viral influencer scandals that just take over your feed.
Yeah, we really want to look past the gloss. So from red carpet surprises to shocking court cases, we are breaking down the stories behind the fame.
Exactly. And today, we're setting the stage with a massive headline. So Justin Theroux, who is 54, and his wife, the 32-year-old actress Nicole Brydon Bloom, welcomed their first child on April 18th, 2026.
Which is obviously just a joyful new beginning for them. But what makes this moment so compelling to analyze is how it sits in stark contrast to the rest of the pop culture landscape we're exploring today.
Right. It's wild.
Because we are looking at a day in the news cycle that includes some incredibly sudden endings, complex legal uncouplings, and a genuinely dark twist in the music world.
We will get to those unravelings a bit later. And trust me, the shift in the news cycle is jarring. But let's start with the baby announcement, because the way celebrities share personal news today is like an absolute science.
Oh, it's totally calculated.
Right. So on April 18th, Justin and Nicole posted this highly curated, very tender black and white Instagram photo. It's an image of the newborn baby boy resting peacefully on Justin's chest.
It's a beautiful shot.
It really is. And the caption was incredibly understated. It just said, "He's here. We are so in love." No name revealed, just a dove emoji.
Which is textbook modern PR strategy, by the way.
I think so.
Absolutely. By giving the public a highly stylized, intimate glimpse, you feed the beast without actually giving away the core details. You withhold the name to maintain a boundary, but the black and white filter signals authenticity and raw emotion.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And predictably, the Hollywood ecosystem immediately showed up to validate the moment.
They always do.
The comment section was a literal who's who. You had Nina Dobrev writing, "He's perfect," with a white heart emoji. Katie Couric added a string of blue hearts.
Brenda Song was in there too, right?
Yes. She was literally shouting in all caps like, "Congrats. So happy for you guys."
But, those comments aren't what broke the internet. The real story the public latched onto was what wasn't being said.
Right. Here is where it gets incredibly fascinating. The dominant narrative that instantly flooded the internet was Justin Theroux has a baby. Jennifer Aniston has not said a word.
Ah, yes, the infamous silence.
Exactly. Everyone was obsessing over her supposed silence, considering she and Justin were married from 2015 to 2018. But I was looking closely at this, and I have to push back entirely on the idea that she ignored it.
I am so glad you brought that up, because the whole bitter ex-wife narrative is so incredibly tired. And frankly, it requires ignoring how modern digital communication actually works.
Exactly. I was reading these headlines and feeling completely confused because Jennifer Aniston actually did react. She left a subtle Instagram like on the post.
Which is huge in celebrity currency.
Right. Let's unpack this for a second. To me, an Instagram like from an A-list ex is not silence. Think about it like being at a massive, crowded gala. You lock eyes with your ex across the room, and you give a polite, silent nod.
Oh, I love that analogy.
It says, "I see you, I'm happy for you, but I'm not walking over there to give the tabloids a photo op."
And beyond just a polite nod, it is a masterclass in boundary setting and crisis management. Think about the mechanics of her position.
Right, because everything she does is magnified.
Exactly. Jennifer Aniston, who is currently very happily dating hypnotist Jim Curtis, knows exactly how much gravity her words hold. If her PR team allows her to comment a single word.
Even just a simple red heart emoji, right?
Even an emoji. The media machinery instantly shifts. The headline is no longer Justin Theroux welcomes son.
Yeah.
It instantly becomes Jennifer Aniston's emotional message to X.
Which completely steals the spotlight from Nicole, the mother of the actual baby.
Precisely. By just tapping that like button, she offers public support while actively refusing to become the main character of someone else's milestone. It's a highly deliberate form of PR diplomacy.
I wouldn't be surprised if she and her publicist debated that single tap for an hour before actually doing it.
I guarantee they did.
Which just shows how much drama is entirely manufactured by us, the public trying to read into a void that isn't actually there. But speaking of whiplash, imagine you're Justin and Nicole.
Okay, yeah.
Just 2 days after this incredibly private, raw moment of having a baby, you were suddenly walking the red carpet at Lincoln Center.
The cognitive dissonance of that schedule is just wild. On April 20th, literally 48 hours after the announcement, they are at the world premiere of The Devil Wears Prada 2.
You literally just had a baby. You're probably running on like 3 hours of sleep, and now you have to go stand in front of a wall of screaming photographers.
And they look completely flawless.
They really did. Justin was in a sharp navy double-breasted suit. Nicole wore a black Moschino halter gown. Justin actually has a supporting role in the film as Emily Blunt's on-screen boyfriend.
Which is great casting. And when the press inevitably swarmed him on the carpet to ask about fatherhood, he handled it perfectly.
What did he say?
He said he was in heaven and that it was the most wonderful thing that had ever happened to him. But he also broke the tension by joking that the second the credits roll, he is sprinting back home to his baby.
I mean, I would be checking the nanny cam from my theater seat.
Seriously.
But, looking at them on that carpet, looking so established, it made me wonder how we even got here. Because if you rewind, the true story of how these two met is straight out of a rom-com.
It really is.
From a freezing 6-degree night in New York to a star-studded Mexican wedding with Jimmy Kimmel in the wrong suit. And later, we'll dive into a shocking music industry headline that nobody saw coming.
Let's focus on that origin story first, though, because it really does feel scripted. Let's take you back to 2022. Justin and Nicole are introduced by mutual friends at a bar in New York City.
Okay, setting the scene.
Right. Afterward, the group decides to walk to another spot nearby, but it is freezing outside, literally 6 degrees.
Ugh, that specific, bone-chilling, wind tunnel, New York cold where your face just instantly goes numb.
Exactly. So Justin kindly offers Nicole his gloves. She takes them, but when they get inside and she hands them back, her diamond ring accidentally slips off her finger and stays hidden deep inside the lining of one of the gloves.
Stop. You cannot write this. If you put this in a screenplay, producer would tell you it's way too cliche.
It sounds totally fabricated, but it actually happened. Justin finds the ring the next morning when he puts the gloves on and feels something slide onto his finger.
No way.
Yeah. He snaps the picture, texts it to her, and jokes that she proposed to him on the very first night they met.
Okay, that is incredibly charming. But here's the thing I kept thinking about while researching this deep dive. Imagine you are Nicole.
Okay.
You were trying to casually date this guy, but his ex-wife is Rachel from Friends. She is literally one of the most famous, most beloved women on the planet.
Right.
How do you even keep a new relationship grounded under that kind of microscopic comparative pressure?
That is the million-dollar question for anyone dating into that echelon of fame. And, well, the architecture of their relationship suggests they knew exactly what they were up against.
How so?
The key for Nicole and Justin seemed to be establishing an ironclad inner circle. They didn't rush the public rollout at all.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, they met in that freezing winter of 2022, but they weren't linked publicly until a Netflix event over a year later in February 2023.
So they let the foundation settle in private before inviting the world in to tear it apart.
Exactly. Because once you open the door to the public, you just can't close it, so you have to be absolutely sure of the foundation. And once they did go public, the timeline accelerated rapidly. By August 2024, they were engaged in Venice, Italy.
Wow, Venice.
Yeah, it was this incredibly cinematic moment looking out over the water, a full moon rising, both of them crying. Justin proposed with a stunning 4-carat emerald-cut diamond.
Which eventually led them to their wedding in March 2025 at the Esencia Hotel in Tulum, Mexico.
Yeah.
And again, the visuals are staggering.
I saw the photos. They were gorgeous.
Nicole walked down the aisle in a custom Victoria Beckham gown. There was another full moon rising over the beach, mirroring their proposal in Venice.
That's a nice touch.
Right. And the guest list was this fascinating blend of their private, tight-knit world and absolute Hollywood royalty.
Yeah, you had Paul Rudd, Ben Stiller, Beanie Feldstein, and then, of course, Jimmy Kimmel stepping in as a groomsman, but accidentally wearing the completely wrong color suit to the ceremony.
See, I love that detail. It grounds the glamour. It reminds you that despite the Victoria Beckham dress and the paparazzi outside, these are just real people whose friends sometimes mess up the dress code at a party.
Totally.
But I also want to make sure we talk about Nicole's background, because she is far more than just Justin Theroux's wife, and her personal history actually explains a lot about why she handles this intense spotlight so gracefully.
Her trajectory is deeply compelling. She graduated from Elon University, and interestingly, she actually started as a journalism major before switching to acting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But there is a very heavy, poignant reality in her past. When Nicole was just 9 years old, her father, the renowned television news journalist David Bloom, tragically died while covering the war in Iraq in 2003.
I was looking into this, and it really stopped me in my tracks. To experience that kind of profound, devastating loss, and to have it happen on a global public stage when you were only 9 years old, that has to fundamentally rewire how you view the media.
It inherently shapes your entire understanding of public attention.
It has to.
When you have faced genuine life-altering tragedy under the glare of international news, it probably inoculates you against the superficiality of Hollywood gossip.
Yeah, she knows firsthand the serious, heavy weight of the news cycle. So when a tabloid tries to manufacture drama about an Instagram like, she likely views it with a lot of perspective. It really explains her groundedness.
That makes total sense. She isn't easily rattled by the noise. And she's channeling that depth into a formidable career.
She really is.
She played the real-life swindler Maud Beaton in seasons 2 and 3 of HBO's The Gilded Age, completely holding her own in a massive ensemble cast.
She was great in that.
And right now, she is stepping into a main cast role as Agent Jane Driscoll in the Hulu series Paradise, starring alongside Sterling K. Brown.
So she is actively shooting, building this incredible resume, all while navigating a high-profile marriage and stepping into motherhood.
It is a remarkable display of resilience and focus.
Now, if you are loving these deep dives into Hollywood's biggest moments, make sure you're subscribed because the glamorous facade of fame is only half the story, and things are about to take a dark turn.
We often talk about the entertainment industry as an ecosystem of constant beginnings, but it is equally an ecosystem of sudden and sometimes deeply complex endings.
That is very true.
We just spent time exploring a beautiful narrative building upward. But on the exact same day in the news cycle, we are seeing the complete dismantling of other long-term Hollywood structures.
And it really highlights how PR teams have to manage vastly different crises. For instance, while we are celebrating this new marriage, we also learned that actress Haley Duff and her fiancé, entrepreneur Matthew Rosenberg, have broken up.
Wow.
Now, what makes this stand out is that they had a 12-year engagement. They share 2 daughters.
A 12-year engagement ending isn't just a breakup. In Hollywood terms, that is the dissolution of a deeply entrenched corporate and personal partnership.
Exactly. They were essentially married.
When two people have built a life, a family, and a public brand together for over a decade, untangling that is monumental. The PR strategy shifts entirely from "look at our happy life" to "how do we protect our family's privacy while acknowledging the end of an era?"
And even that feels somewhat manageable compared to the other unraveling happening right now.
Oh, the Kimora Lee Simmons news.
Yes. We also have the news that Kimora Lee Simmons' husband, the former Goldman Sachs banker Tim Leissner, is legally filing for divorce.
Okay.
But the crucial detail here is the location. He is filing for divorce from federal prison.
That is just wild.
He's currently serving a sentence after pleading guilty to a massive multi-million-dollar theft scheme involving immolation fund.
Which brings up a fascinating, albeit grim, mechanism of wealth and legal consequence. Why file for divorce from prison?
What's the strategy there?
Well, sometimes, in white-collar crime situations, a divorce is a calculated legal maneuver to protect remaining familial assets from restitution or seizure.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that.
Right. Other times, it is simply the stark reality that a marriage cannot survive the strain of a decade-long federal sentence and the total collapse of a privileged lifestyle.
It's the absolute extreme duality of status. One day you are living in unimaginable luxury, and the next, your marriage is being publicly dismantled through federal prison paperwork.
The contrast is jarring.
It really is.
Yeah.
But as jarring as that white-collar crime fallout is, we need to pause here. Because the tone of the news we need to cover next shifts completely, and it requires a different level of gravity.
It does. And we want to be very clear that we are simply reporting the facts as they are currently presented by the authorities and the news cycle.
Absolutely.
The music industry has just been hit with a deeply tragic story. Musician D4VD has been formally charged with the murder of a 14-year-old girl named Celeste Rivas Hernandez.
It's just awful.
And he has pleaded not guilty to the charge.
When I first read that, I honestly had to stop and put my phone down. We are talking about the loss of a 14-year-old child. It is a harrowing, devastating reality that completely shatters the illusion of the entertainment world.
It does. And beyond the tragedy itself, which is paramount, it forces us to look at the psychological toll of how we consume information today.
What do you mean?
Well, there is a sociological concept we should explore here regarding the architecture of our digital feeds. The medium itself flattens the message.
Can you break that down specifically for the listener who is, just scrolling on a Tuesday morning?
Yeah, think about your own experience looking at your phone. In the exact same physical space, literally a glowing rectangle in your hand,
Mhm.
you're being asked to process wildly different extremes of human existence.
That's a really good point.
You swipe once and you see a touching black and white photo of a newborn baby. Your brain is prompted to feel joy. You swipe again, you read about a 12-year breakup. You swipe again, a complex prison divorce. And then literally 1 millimeter down the screen, you are confronted with a tragic murder charge involving a teenager.
You are asking your brain to release dopamine for a baby, curiosity for a scandal, and deep cortisol-inducing grief for a family in a courtroom, all within a 3-second window.
It is absolute cognitive overload.
It really is. The glossy, highly curated lives of stars exist directly alongside gritty, devastating, real-world tragedies.
Exactly. When Justin Theroux stands on a red carpet saying he is in heaven, that image is beamed to your phone right next to a headline about a grieving family. It forces us, as consumers, to rapidly switch our empathy on and off.
Which honestly feels a little dangerous when you really think about it.
How so?
Because to survive that kind of emotional whiplash, your brain has to compartmentalize. And the risk is that we start treating all of it, the weddings, the babies, the divorces, and the actual tragedies, as just different genres of content.
Oh, absolutely. It is the ultimate commodification of the human experience. We risk becoming desensitized to both the profound joy and the profound pain because the feed presents them both with the exact same visual weight.
That is incredibly well said. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next in our investigations into the reality behind the fame.
Because as we've seen today, the reality is always vastly more complex and sometimes far heavier than the headline suggests.
So what does this all mean for us, the people watching from the outside?
That's the big question.
If we synthesize the journey of today's deep dive, we started with a diamond ring accidentally falling into a winter glove on a 6-degree night in New York.
A literal rom-com meet cute.
Right. We examined how an ex-wife's highly strategic Instagram like is actually a masterclass in PR boundary setting. We waded through the collapse of a 12-year engagement, the cold mechanics of a prison divorce, and ultimately a deeply tragic criminal charge that forces us to question how we process the news.
It showcases the full, chaotic, and often unpredictable spectrum of celebrity culture.
It reminds us that behind every curated post, every carefully styled red carpet appearance, and every press release, there is a messy, deeply human reality.
A reality that simply cannot be contained by a photo filter or an interview soundbite.
Which leaves me with a final lingering question for you to mull over today. Think about how much we project our own narratives onto these people.
We do it constantly.
When Jennifer Aniston simply taps a tiny heart icon on a screen, the whole world rushes to write a headline about her inner emotional state. Are we actually reading the news, or are we just writing our own movie scripts and using real people as the cast?
That is exactly the question we should be asking ourselves every time we open our phones.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.